Hey y'all, well, I'm finally back with the gelatin recipe that I promised you, and I hope you're gonna like it. I know if you like iced coffee that you're probably gonna like this recipe. I've had 3 taste testers, everybody likes it so far, and it started out as me trying to make the Japanese dessert where they do coffee and then a layer of cream gelatin and coffee, and there's like 12 layers. I couldn't do that. I don't have the patience for it, and I could not get the layers to, I was trying to do 4 layers and it wasn't working. So what I found out was part of the problem was the sweeteners that I was trying to use. So I want to start off this video by telling you cannot use erythritol to make this recipe. It will not set up correctly and it will get grainy on you. I use the monkfruit sweetener with the allulose, and it works beautifully. I do powder it. So I've got my little magic bullet, so I just put some in here and I zhuzh it up until it's powdered sweetener. And I highly suggest that you do that or buy the powdered sweetener of your choice that's not erythritol, because powdering the sweetener has also made a big difference in the way it sets up and the way it tastes. So this is super simple and it is going to be quite delicious. I believe you'll like it. Hi Macy. So all we're going to use is some almond milk, unsweetened almond milk, heavy whipping cream. I've got an 8-ounce cup of black coffee. I make instant coffee, but it doesn't matter if you use instant coffee or brewed coffee as long as it's room temperature. You know, it can't be hot. And then I've already told you about the sweetener. We're going to need just a little touch of avocado oil or any kind of oil that you like. I use avocado, but you can use whatever oil you have. And we're just going to put like a teaspoon of that on a paper towel, and we're going to grease our pan before we put the ingredients in the pan so that when it sets up, it's easier to come out of the pan. And I'm doing this in 2 stages because when I first started working on this recipe, that's what I was doing. I was making the cream layer and the coffee layer. And so it didn't set up correctly. The coffee would never get as set and hard as the cream part was. It set up, but it didn't taste good. It just, to me, it was still too bitter. It didn't taste good. So what I ended up doing, because I couldn't get anything else to work and I was bound and determined I was going to make some gelatin, coffee gelatin, is I ended up making both parts and then mixing it in a big bowl and stirring it really well. I thought it'd be smarty pants at one point in time, and I made it and I was like, I've got you figured out. I'll just swirl it in here and it'll, you know, set up and swirl. Nope, it mostly incorporated while it was in the refrigerator, and then the parts where the coffee didn't mix in with the cream part, it was still not as hard as the other, so the bottom part got kind of runny. So I have overcome that by putting it in a bowl, stirring it up really good. It may be that you can make this without going through the 2-step plan, but I haven't had time to try that out. Things have been a little crazy over here. I will try it out and let y'all know in another video if it works like that, because you know me, if you can do less steps and have the same result, the more power. But anyway, we're going to do it this way tonight just because I know for sure that this will work. And I've actually got another one that I made earlier that's in the refrigerator. So after I get this one put together and get it in the fridge, I'll come back with the one that's set up and let you guys see it, and we'll have a taste test. And I thank y'all for being patient with me, because I'm going to be filming by myself for a while because Miss Jenny's still not able to come back. So as soon as she comes back, we will let you know. But until then, I appreciate y'all's patience, being patient with me, because as you know, it's more difficult to film by yourself than when you've got somebody else filming with you. So let's get started. Okay, so I forgot to mention the most important thing. We need gelatin. So I'm using Knox unflavored, unsweetened gelatin for this, and it works beautifully, which is why I decided to call them Knox Nibbles, because I was originally trying to get the things like, remember when we were growing up and Jello had the Jello jiggler things that you could make, and they were like little cubes and you could pick them up with your fingers? I was trying to go for that, but it didn't work out. But this is a beautiful recipe, and I'll have all the ingredients down below for you. And this turns out really nice. It's almost got a flan type consistency. It's a little harder than flan, but it's similar. So I'm putting 1/4 of a cup of cold water over each pack of gelatin. And what we're going to do is stir this up and let this bloom for a few minutes. And while it's blooming, I'm going to grease the pan that we're pouring this stuff into. And like I said, I've already got my coffee ready, and I'm just going to have to measure out my cream and my almond milk when we get to that stage. But y'all, this is so easy. It's so much easier than what I was trying before. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I amaze myself with how difficult I try to make things. And I'm a person that really likes things to be simple. But sometimes I fall down that rabbit hole of, well, it's going to be good, so it's going to be worth it. Sometimes it's not good and it didn't work out. Like the first few times I tried this. I say few, but I'm probably like 5 or 6 attempts in to make this the way it finally turned out where I liked it. So if at first you don't succeed, try again. Alright, so I've got the gelatin in the bowls here, and I'll try to pick one of these bowls up and kind of let you see inside. I don't know if you can or not, but you're just liquefying and blooming the gelatin for a few minutes. We're going to set that aside while it does its thing. And I'm going to step over here and get, I'll be right back, y'all. I got scratches on my pan. I don't know why. Let me get a paper towel here, and we're going to grease the little pan up while we're waiting on gelatin to bloom. And this recipe calls for hot or boiling water. I've been doing it in the microwave, and it's been working just fine. I don't think it has to boil. It just has to get hot enough to melt the rest of the gelatin. So y'all can see here, I've just got a little bit of oil on this paper towel, and I'm just rubbing it along the bottom and the edges, because we don't want grease, you know, on our gelatin. We just want the gelatin to release easily from the pan. So that's why we're doing this. Set this back over here for a few minutes. So in each one of these bowls, I'm going to put 1/2 cup of hot water. So I'm going to fill this up with cold water and microwave it, and when I come back, we'll put the hot water in, and that's got to cool down just a few minutes, and then we'll add our other ingredients, and it'll be ready to put in the refrigerator. So I'll be back. Okay, so the water's out of the microwave. I microwaved this for 1 minute and 20 seconds, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's steaming hot. And so we're going to put 1/2 cup in each one of these bowls and get them stirred up. Alright. So all I'm doing is stirring the thing. We've all made Jell-O. We know how to do this. I'm just stirring it up so that it will all dissolve. And it is important that you take the time to make sure that it is all dissolved. But it will if you just stir just for a minute, especially when you get your water hot enough. It just sort of takes care of things. And I really do like this final product. I was surprised after so many disappointments. And y'all, I had some disappointments with this. But that's the way it goes sometimes when you're trying to work on a recipe. But I really am happy with the way it turned out. Like I said, it's got more of a flan texture to it than a jiggler. And I haven't tried to add any extra gelatin because I kind of like the texture that's coming out too. But if any of y'all try to make this and you add like another 1/2 pack of gelatin to each bowl, let me know how it turns out. I'm going to be interested to see if it would get firmer and you could actually pick them up like you can jigglers. Alright, so I'm looking just to make sure I don't have any pieces floating around that are not dissolved. We look pretty good over here. This one too. Alright, so once you get your gelatin dissolved, you're going to put your sweetener in. And this is something that I have not experimented with putting extra sweetener in. I'm putting 3 tablespoons of the monkfruit allulose mix that's powdered in each bowl. And to me, when it's done, it's plenty sweet. If you make it and you want to make it sweeter, give it a try and let me know. Sometimes, because allulose doesn't set up and it doesn't recrystallize like erythritol, sometimes adding more can make a difference, and then other times it doesn't. So like I said, I have not had a chance to work on this one yet and add anything extra to it, but I also like it just the way it is. So that's another thing. All right, so get this in there. Get all this stirred up. Y'all tell me down in the comments how many of y'all like iced coffee, because I love coffee in the wintertime, but in the summertime I love iced coffee. I really, really love it. And you know, I can't have commercial iced coffee anymore, but I make my own iced coffee with low carb ingredients, and I have really enjoyed being able to do that in the summertime. And I guess my stubbornness is what kept me going with this recipe, because I was like, you will not defeat me. You know? So I have that in our family. It runs in our family, and they talk about our family's name, and we've got our name in our stubborn streak, and it's kind of true. So I come by it honest, y'all. So all right, so we've got the sweetener dissolved in here, and I'm just going to let this cool off a little bit. You cannot add your cream and your almond milk in at this point, because your cream will curdle, because this is still hot to the touch, and we need everything to cool off to like room temp before we mix everything up. So I'm going to give this a few minutes to cool, and we'll be back in just a minute and finish up. All right, y'all, so we are back and everything's cooled off, and we're ready to add our ingredients to our gelatin. So I'm going to do a half a cup of heavy whipping cream and a half a cup of almond milk added with that and put together. Uh-oh, scared myself. And I did try this, you guys, if y'all are maybe thinking that you would put just all heavy cream in here. I did try that and it did not work. It was too much fat to gelatin ratio, I think, is the problem, but it didn't set up. It set up a little bit, but it was more like a runny pudding. I don't even know how to describe what happened, but it was not the happening for me. So now we're just going to add our cream and almond milk into this bowl. And we're going to add our coffee, and I'm going to pray that I don't spill here. Yay! No spillage. And then I'm going to combine these two in the big bowl. And like I said, I may be going through extra steps here, but I haven't had a chance to test it yet. And I didn't want to make something for you guys that wasn't going to turn out. So we'll put the cream and the almond milk mixture in first. And then we're going to add the coffee mixture to it. And just stir, stir, stir. And if you get a little gelatin settling at the bottom of your bowls after you put the cream or the coffee and stuff in, as long as the gelatin's not like clumped, it's fine to just stir it in, and it's all going to dissolve and be a lovely thing. So you can see what a pretty color I'm getting here. And when you make your cup of coffee, you can make it as strong or as weak as you normally like it. I made mine just like I make my regular coffee, and it turned out good. To to me the ratio is good. I'm happy with it. So sorry if I'm getting a little off camera here. My board weight is not distributed. There we go. All right, so I'll be right back. All right. So all I'm going to do now, I've got my 8x8 pan. Remember we greased it earlier? And I'm just going to stir this up a little more. If you see that you've got little air bubbles and stuff in it, don't worry about that. It's not going to affect the flavor. Sometimes they pop and go away and sometimes they don't. But either way, it's going to be fine. Alright, so then I'm just going to pour this into this pan so it'll be easy for cutting and stuff. And I'm going to put this one in the refrigerator, get the one out of the refrigerator I've got made, get this stuff out of the way, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm back with the one that I made earlier, and it turned out great. This recipe makes 4 large servings. If you eat a quarter of this, it's a big dessert, and it's still only 250 something calories, I think. Hang on, let me check my book real quick. I want to give y'all correct information. Oh, okay, I'll tell you why I thought that was the final number. I'm going to bring my book over here so I'll be in frame, because I told y'all I'm filming by myself. So when I was figuring out the macros for this dessert, if you don't put anything on this and you just eat it the way that it is, if you divide it into 6 portions, it is only 76 calories and 0.8 net carbs with 0.88 regular carbs. If you divide it into 4, it's 114 calories with 1.2 net carbs. And if you add 2 tablespoons of whipped cream made with heavy whipping cream, it goes up to 219 calories and 2.02 net carbs. So it is a really low carb dessert, and it's really filling. If you eat, you know, a fourth of it. I'm going to do mine into 6 because I'm not going to eat all that much of it because it's pretty thick in the pan. And so I'm just going to divide this one up the best that I can. But I will tell y'all that I have made this with whipped cream on top of it, and it is really good with whipped cream too. So I'm going to try to get one of these squares out of here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it pretty, but we're going to try. Well, almost pretty. Almost pretty. So, get the spoon and get the rest of the stuff that kind of stuck to the bottom of the pan a little bit. So I'm going to cut this up so you guys can see a close-up view. But I like to cut it up in little cubes. And like I said, it's got sort of a flan texture to it. Okay, had to cut away there for a second because I forgot about these sauces. I recently discovered that Lakanto has a caramel syrup, and it has that the serving is 2 tablespoons, and it's 15 calories with no carbs or anything. There's 6 carbs in it, but they're all allulose carbs, so they don't count because they don't do anything to your blood sugar. And then I also found these sweet drops at the grocery store, and this is caramel flavored. It says it's stevia sweetened. Now I love caramel coffee, so I'm going to try this. I tried both of these on a little tip of a spoon when they came in this morning, but I don't like them just by themselves, and it's probably because they're saturated with flavor. But I'm going to try them on this and see if I like them. And I did like the flavor of the Lakanto a little bit better than this, just with a, you know, straight taste test. But we're going to try it and see what I think. And like I said, I'm just going to do a little bit in a spoon because this is a taste test. And if I'm not crazy about it, then I won't have ruined my whole dessert here. All right, let's try it with this. That's actually pretty good, you guys. That's actually pretty good. Okay. Now the sweet drops, we're gonna try that. And I did notice that the sweet drops are thicker. So I don't know, like I'm just gonna try like a drop on some of this and see what I think. Yeah, not a fan. If you guys get this and you like it, then you can absolutely add it to your recipe that you're making. But I'm not a fan, and I'm kind of surprised. I thought maybe the flavor would dissipate a little more, but it's, to me, and this is me personally, but to me it's got like a kind of a bitter taste to it that I don't care for. So Lakanto's the winner in my book. But like I say, if you like these, you could put these on this dessert too. And I'm gonna have a bite with just nothing on it because I like it like this too. It's like iced coffee in gelatin form. It's delicious. So I hope you guys will try it. Please let me know if you do try this and what you think of it, because like I said, this recipe kicked my butt for a minute, y'all, so I'm kind of proud that I was able to get it to work. So I hope you'll enjoy it. Please let me know if you try it. Let me know in the comments if you've tried any of these syrups before, because I just discovered these like 2 days ago. So they've got peppermint and everything. But I hope you guys have a wonderful week. So if you're interested, you can hang around after this, because we have had rain down here for almost 3 weeks solid now. And yesterday we had a day that was sunny and bright and hot. And Miss Macy got in the backyard and she rolled around and she cut up and acted up. And I got a bunch of pictures of her rolling around just living her best life. So if you're interested in that, I'll put them at the end of the video. And if not, we will see you next time. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you for love and your support. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I will talk to you soon. You guys have a great one. Bye-bye.